party.
I think we're going to spend real money.
I could always
on
use some
Columbus.
fireworks in the middle
And
of
I
the
don't know.
year.
Hopefully,
Like gold snowmen and blow
we're not
them
going to
up.
get pressed for time on that.
Yeah,
Is there a
That's
recognized
gonna take some
holiday
planning.
between then and now?
well, and I think
Oh, we can find it. We can figure something out.
she actually had a public engagement, so I should have noted it here
Okay.
for that.
I know what the source stuff is like
Covers as
and then the county
questions,
stuff.
that was
It's like to your accounts.
when she
You have to hit
anticipated
record
that.
for it to go on.
Because
But
like
you
you're saying,
record and you two, oh, you
kinda
have
should be.
recording screens.
And we're going to have to find artists, and I'm not qualified to do that.
yeah.
We can't just put something up on our
All right, we are
website and
live.
say, hey,
Who
find
wants
us.
to- Sure. Are we good? I'll call to order the January 16th Public Arts and Culture Commission. Kathy, could you read the roll call, please?
Marcia Carrington, Sean Daly,
Here.
Robin Lloyd, Chris Parthamore,
Here.
Adam Ramsdale,
Here.
Brian Stanley,
Here.
Cable Steineman,
Here,
Martha Weichel. Here. Aneta Vlodeka.
Yes, here.
I'll get better. Commissioner Crable,
Here.
Michelle Newell, and Aaron Blair.
Here.
All right, we should have received the minutes. Do we have any motions regarding the minutes from December 19th?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Sharon, old business? Seeing
I
none?
can mention the City Hall Gallery new installation is hung. I still need to get the name cards for each of the pieces that showcase the name of the piece and the artist. But you should take a look while you're here. There was some conversation, if it didn't seem like we had enough to ask for, a couple more. We did get another submission that didn't get evaluated, or if we think it's sufficient to say it's complete for the year. So take a look, and then if you have any comments, feel free to email them to me, and I can bring them to the next meeting.
Great.
I have, one other update through the chair. The vinyl mural that was installed on West Marine has taken some pretty large damage from the wind and, winter precipitation. It's because of the location, it takes a lot of direct wind because it's exposed there, because it has basically a parking lot in front of it. And the building itself has a bit of a perforation. The texture of the building was already a liability for the adhesion of that mural. So the printer that had applied it advised that we take it down. And they can't do that until it's a little bit nicer weather, but they're gonna remove it, and they did not recommend putting that one back up at that location. So I'm gonna take a look at the previous locations that we had identified for the program and see if we can find an alternative to get that one reinstalled somewhere else. And the printer did say that they would reinstall it at cost and not charge us for the installation fee again, which we would not be able to do until spring because we have to have a couple weeks of plus 50-degree weather for the building face, the wall itself to be warm enough to even apply the vinyl mural. And for those of you that are new on the commission, that program was intended to run between 2 and 5 years. And you can see the protected murals, like the one that has the large train feature in between Clubhouse Number 3 and Macaroot, for example. It's very protected. It'll probably last 5 years without an issue. But the other ones are going on a year and a half, close to 2 years now. And the one on West Marine is just, has not, it's starting to fail. So we're going to have to find an alternative for that one.
So we'll look for a site from you probably this spring
Yeah.
to run by. Sounds good. Any other old business? If not, we'll move to new business. Election of officers.
The silence is deafening.
I'd be happy
nominate
to
Ryan
see
as
you
renewal of chair.
continue in your position.
As if, yeah, he was.
I think I will accept that nomination this year. I feel like maybe next year would be a time to start transitioning into just different leadership, so we can have some new leadership, maybe better ideas, more conversation. But I will accept that, and I would like to nominate Chris as the vice president. That's fine.
Your microphone, sir.
Any other
Okay.
president, vice president nominations?
I think we're good. We have to vote on
I
this?
think we probably should.
Roll call vote on it.
Roll call vote, please.
Marcia Carrington. Sean Daly.
Yes.
Chris Parthmore.
Abstain.
Adam Ramsdale.
Yes.
Brian Stanley.
Abstain.
Cable Steineman.
Yep.
Martha Weichel.
Yes.
And Netta.
Vlodeka, yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the 2024 work plan discussion. Aaron?
Let me see if I can get this to show up on your screens, because it seems to be being stubborn this evening.
No, it just doesn't seem like.
It won't let me turn the lobby controls off, because I can see it on this, but I'm not seeing it there or on any other screens.
And I turned the lobby off.
Apologies for the delay. I thought we,
Yeah.
it just says follow camera. What is it supposed to do here?
Podium view.
It's like their screens aren't up.
I know, none of ours are. Side by side with video or podium side by side. Stream YouTube and record.
Okay, well, we'll go with a page turn, and I'll describe each one. Let's make the assumption that everybody's read their packet and has looked through their work plan. And for those watching at home, that is available on the Arts Commission agenda. It's in the agenda packet, the 2024 work plan draft. So starting with the cover page, I used the photo of the sculpture we purchased last year. And feel free to interrupt. I was just going to do a page turn, and if you have questions, comments on each page, feel free to interrupt. We'll take a couple pauses through the projects. The contents, we have the proposed projects that we voted on last meeting, and when we get to the budget page, I'll do a recap of those. Next, we have the introduction page, which is typically fixed text. I go in and make sure it's still relevant, change the dates, but the introduction just shares how the work plan was directed from the Public Arts Master Plan, and that document says that the Arts Commission should create an annual work plan, and that's what we work to adopt. So we do a brainstorming meeting, and then we prioritize, and then we budget, and then we actually create the draft plan itself. So that covers the introduction and the development page. There's a yellow note on the development page that I will update that session 3 and make sure it's accurate. So I went ahead and drafted that you have moved to adopt this today. Please don't feel any pressure to do that. It was just so I could put some draft languages, and I'll update that paragraph and make sure it's accurate before it's formally adopted. The next page is the budget summary. So we have our dedicated funding is the Public Cultural Art and Acquisition Fund, and that we have expected funds coming in of $97,000 from the previous year's admissions taxes. And if we take the fund balance that we're operating with and subtract all of the, basically the earmarks of our savings account from Columbus Avenue, the money we're holding for maintenance on the vinyl mural program, the money we're holding to implement in the Wheels Park update, the money we are holding from last year to purchase the Kedziora hanging sculptures, and then we were in the process of paying out $2,500 for the grant when this was drafted from the farmer's market last year. Take all of those out and add the expected funds, we are expected to be able to have $104,000 and $200 to work with for the 2024 work plan. The last meeting, we went over this in spreadsheet format, and the members voted to move this list forward, which is 7 projects. The first one would be Columbus Avenue Streetscape Art at $55,800. That would add to the funding we've previously saved up, and we have a Columbus Avenue page that details that. The City Hall Gallery, we maintain $200 in a budget line item for that in case there's any maintenance needed. For Art Box, $3,000. For the Greetings from Sandusky mural, $10,000. For the 125 East Water Street mural, $10,000. For the Artist-Led Grant Program, $10,000. And $7,000 in discretionary funds for the Eclipse Festival if the Arts Commission chooses to pursue something or to support something for that weekend. That accounts for $94,000 of our expected budget, so we have $10,200 of budget surplus. And I would ask the chair, do you want to have a conversation about that now, or do you want to do the page turn and come back to that?
I think we should go page turn so we can get a good feel for all the projects, then we can go back and double check on the numbers.
Thank you. So next, we look at it's just a title page for the proposed projects. And moving forward to project number 1 is Columbus Avenue. I put a lot more into this year because we're trying to build the lexicon of how we talk about this and how we think about it. So you'll notice there's more than has typically been in the work plan about this project. So we've been saving for Columbus Avenue since 2021, and the 2023 work plan allocation that's drafted today of $55,800 would bring us to a full $200,000 saved in our budget for that project. My expectation would be that we, towards the end of 2024, look for potentially a consultant or some sort of team to help us facilitate what the parameters of that artwork and then conduct the artist selection process along with the commission. I've done some research in some other cities. One example is having a group that facilitates that process, identifying a few finalists and then actually paying a few finalists to come up with proposals. I've seen that when it's like down to 3 and then they actually really fully develop a proposal and come present it. So that's one model I took a look at, but I would really rely on someone that has the specific expertise. I would love to engage with the group. So I think we could use just a small portion of this budget to identify a group to help us facilitate a process like that. And then I think it's really important that we don't completely identify what that looks like with public engagement until the streetscape is complete. I think people walking out on the brand new streetscape and looking around and seeing all the things that we've added and all the things that were new is going to be important for them to have that baseline before we can engage, the public and the stakeholders right around the area to really think about what we should add to that. If we start to have that conversation now, we're all going to be looking at Columbus Avenue as it is today, and it's going to be vastly different.
So I thought previous conversations, we talked about being involved in the design part of this. So we could have an artist on board that could have some say in the design of where these items or multiple things may go. But now I'm hearing we kind of want to pivot towards waiting till things are already in place and then bring the artist.
So if you recall, we had the designer of the streetscape come in and present to the Arts Commission and facilitate a conversation with the Arts Commission about the design itself. So that was that engagement portion in the streetscape's design. And at that time, we identified a couple big ideas. One would be putting large-scale, like sculpture-type installations at the either the Market Street intersection or multiple intersection. There was some interest in doing small things all along the streetscape and some interest in doing kind of a large installation. We have a lot of room, so there's a lot of options in the design itself that we'll be able to identify places for the art to go depending on what size, shape, or form it takes. So I think that's how I understood that engagement to have occurred. And then I think that we'll definitely need some public engagement specifically around the art as well coming up.
I guess I just know how design goes, and if we're not really involved, that piece may shrink. Just want to make sure we're on top of where we need to go with getting that engagement during design and make sure it remains after we're built. So that was a big question I had there. Another part of this was the public engagement piece, and I think you answered that, so.
Yeah. Thank you. And that design is complete. The permission to bid is going to be on the upcoming City Commission agenda. And so if anybody wants to walk through those completed design sets, let me know. I'm happy to sit down with you. It's a 175-page set of construction documentation, but I know it like the back of my hand at this point. So I'd be happy to help walk you through that. But there is a lot of opportunity for installation of artwork and how that takes form
Good.
on the streetscape.
Good. Anybody else with comments on Columbus Ave?
So just a couple more comments on this, if you keep page turn a little bit. So I started adding a little bit more context in the example photos that I put in here, just so, again, we're building towards what this might look like and how the Arts Commission perceives it and communicates it. So I included the page from our brainstorming session on the public art that we conducted this year, and I think these are great questions to ask the public too, and commissioners and other stakeholders when we start engaging around this topic. I also included some examples, and I tried to do a little bit of research for things that have been recently completed that fall in the budget range of what we're looking at. So you'll notice a couple pages of those of photos that you've never seen before. And then I built on some of the photos that have been used in the past. And just so we have a good idea of like pictures that have been shown on the Columbus Avenue page from the work plan, what those projects actually potentially cost and where are they, and a little bit more information. So that's why I added that. It's a big project. It's really important to everybody. And so I just want to add a little bit more context for that one.
Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate you adding those dollar amounts to it. It really brings into reality what our money may or may not be able to purchase.
Yes.
One thing,
Yes.
Chandelier is out.
that's gonna be a little guy.
Well, and the chandelier, I couldn't find like a specific price for that because it's part of the $16 million streetscape that they did. And there's just no, at least in the 20 minutes I spent on it, I didn't find any specific budget breakouts. I didn't make any phone calls, but
You get a Christmas ornament.
it was a lot. It's probably more than we want. So next up, we have Project 2, the City Hall Gallery. That is essentially saying we like it. We're going to keep doing that. We're going to pieces put up in about a year, and then we'll send the call to artists out at the end of the summer, early fall. That's when we typically do that. The Art Box program, we decided the last meeting, the commission voted to double the budget on these. What we found, we have 2 completed projects. We found the artists are spending a lot more time than we realized. Lori, who painted the most recent one, said she spent 60 hours on it. So we decided to target a little bit more to see if potentially we could get a couple of these. So we have budgeted for 3 projects at $1,000 each. So that would be $200 up front for the artist to purchase supplies and $800 at completion. And I went through the map with a fine-tooth comb and deleted some of the locations that were less than ideal for various circumstances. So there are still, all these blue dots on the map are available utility cabinets owned by the city of Sandusky. Some of them are smaller, some of them are actually on poles, and then some of them are the larger cabinets. So anybody that's interested, if you know anybody that's interested, just send them to me and I can help them figure out where they might want to do one and what those cabinets look like at each location. The next is the Greetings from Sandusky mural. So Jason Whirling from our Recreation Division is leading an effort to bring this mural back. The vision there is that it will get painted onto kind of like a outdoor wrapped canvas type application that will then be hung on the side of the Mylander Pavilion at the Jackson Street Pier. And the Arts Commission had voted last meeting to support that project with $10,000. That's expected to support about a third of the cost of that project. The next one is 125 East Water Street. So Amanda from Shores and Islands, Ohio, is leading an effort to do a large-scale mural on the side of this building. They have not come up with a concept yet, so in the conversations with Arts Commission, with support of that project, is the hope that a few representatives from the commission will participate on a committee with that project team to help the art direction and come to a final design to come back and show the full commission of what that would be and the timeline and everything. Question?
Just from my ex officio position here, what happens if they decide to build on that lot?
So if they decide to build on that lot, then we would, we'd sacrifice the mural. My hope would be that someday we do see someone want to build a building on that lot. It's kind of a missing tooth in the architecture of our downtown. But for example, the current owners have a patio idea that they have approved. They've gotten approved through Landmark Commission, I think it was about 14 or 18 months ago. And that was, Landmark Commission gave them a certificate of appropriateness for 10 years. So if they move forward with that project, they would have the rights to have a patio there for 10 years, and then that would expire in hopes that maybe the market at that point would be sufficient for them to decide to build a building or sell it for someone to build a building. So there's a relative comfort to know that a mural here would likely be viewable for 10 years, or about 8.5, 9 years at this point. And then they are also, so the Shores and Islands is working, is coordinating with that lot owner to make sure if they did build it, it wouldn't cover up any part of the mural.
Okay.
And do you need to have volunteers for that committee?
I think they're wanting to queue it up for spring, so it would be, I
Next few
think
meetings?
soon.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah. The next is the Artist-Led Grant Program. It was really exciting. This, for the first time, I could include pictures from previously supported projects. So last year, we spent our Artist-Led Grant, and it was the first time that this portion of the budget had been spent. So the 303 East Washington mural, and then an example of chalk art that was completed as one of the farmers market activation funding support items are on this page, and that is drafted in at another $10,000 for next year. And that's for artists to come to us to propose to add to the public art in the city with the Arts Commission support. The next is the Eclipse Festival discretionary funds. This is deliberately vague. It's just a hold of a potential funding bucket to support something that is proposed to us, or maybe I might find some things to bring to you, or you all might find something to bring to us, or the Eclipse team might find something to bring to us for potential supportive funding. But the short story is that on April 8th, there's going to be a total eclipse. Sandusky is on the direct path of that. Outdoor Magazine, which is the image that's featured here, has named Sandusky one of the top 7 places in the nation to view the eclipse. We're expecting, I think Shores and Islands and the Eclipse team is planning for upwards of 300,000 people to come to our area to view it, like basically the entire state of Michigan. They're just planning, they're all going to drive here to see the eclipse. So there's going to be multi-day festival. I think I heard Jason say there's going to be, even the Thursday before, there's going to be a Jeep Clips, which is like some sort of Jeep festival on the pier. There's going to be a 2-day music festival on that Friday and Saturday, is my understanding. The Clips itself is on Monday. The schools are closed, so it's going to be a big deal. And there's potentially something here. There were 2 things that brought me the idea to pitch this, which I explained last meeting. One is the Greetings from Sandusky mural. So we're supporting that, and Jason's vision is that that's going to actually get painted live during the Eclipse Festival. So it'll be part of the program, and people could go watch the mural artists paint that mural. I've seen smaller live mural painting events where artists are painting like 8x8 plywood, some sort of like temporary mural as a placemaking event item of interest. So that's one idea, is what if we got some other mural artists to add to that, and there was this whole live mural painting part of the event. That's one idea. Another one was, I think Mackenzie Spriggs with Destination Sandusky sent me a photo of some big eclipse glasses sculpture that another city had. I think it was in Kentucky in 2017 when there was a partial eclipse. And I was like, she was like, is this cool? And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Like, where did it come from? Who made it? And is it temporary or permanent? And how much does it cost? I don't know. I have no idea the answers to those questions, but those two things were like, oh, I'll see if Arts Commission wants to hold some dollars for a potential project for the year. That's going to come up quick, so let me know if you have some ideas, and hopefully I'll have something to pitch for you next meeting. Next one is Lang Trust Sculpture Program. So that's noted as project number 8, and that is a continued partnership to support. This is a project that they fund. It's the annual MSI, Midwest Sculpture Initiative, temporary sculpture placement. So those are the sculptures we get on rotation. They sit on each site for a year, and then they bring us a portfolio. And typically we, myself and Robin and Marcia, have been sitting in that committee to select the sculptures that come up. So they just installed the 2023-2024 sculpture program sculptures and locations, and that map is available on the Lang Trust site for the library. Finally, there's the implementation page. This is where I try to identify some Arts Commission members to help, to be like my first call on any specific project. The Wheels Park stuff will be coming up soon. For example, Adam and Sean are going to help with that, and I'll be calling a public meeting with those stakeholders to talk about the budget for the arts for the Wheels Park. So I drafted in some names on this, and just to put something in front of you, but I'm happy to have those shifted around, or if you wanted to move them around. I try to give everybody just a couple things, and but I largely kept the ones that were already set in place. If you wanted to change it up, you tell me, and that's the full draft. So I think 3 questions I have is, do you have any edits, comments, specific direction on any page? Do we want to allocate the $10,000 that we have remaining in the budget? And do we want to mix up any of these names in the implementation page? Those are my 3 questions for you.
So I think we could start with the implementation, we just talked about that. Anybody not interested in serving in the roles that are defined on that sheet? Anybody interested in switching things around? Adding to, taking away? Anybody have any thoughts on the implementation support?
Well, if the Jeff that is cited here is this Jeff, there's a couple things on here which I wouldn't want to be associated with. All right, so I'll share those with you, and you can make whatever adjustments you choose to make, okay?
Sure.
Any other concerns with the implementation? No? Okay.
I'm willing to pick up a spot or if somebody drops out of one of them, but
Same. And
Okay, too.
if,
Same.
especially with the downtown with where's it at?
Streetscape?
Yeah, the building,
it's 125.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, if, because I'm only doing like 2 things in the back there. I can definitely help out with some more if need be.
Yeah, I think we've got Jeff on here like 6 times, and I'm
Right.
on here once.
Right,
So-
I'm on here twice, and I'm like,
I noticed the overrepresentation.
You can put me on additionally, wherever you need me.
With that said, Aaron, you could back me out of 125
Okay.
East Water Street if we've got others that would prefer.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind being part of the Art Box one if
Okay.
there's enough.
I assume those assignments are rather fluid.
They are. It's
Right,
kind of
so-
like if I get
Yeah.
questions in between meetings, then I call folks. The Wheels Park will definitely be involved in a public meeting. The 125 East Water would be involvement with the group there. What else? Art Box might be just bouncing ideas, but in between meetings. The gallery is, I can't remember what we've done with that support group. I had Marcia and Robin come help me hang it the one year because we had so many pieces. Yeah, they're fluid, as you mentioned.
So it sounds like there's no short of volunteers, so.
Yeah, well, thank you, I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, which is great. So you want to move back to what are the other two, the budget and what else?
If anybody has specific comments on any page edits,
Yeah, let's open that up to additional comments if anyone has anything else regarding the items in the work plan, and then we'll move on to budget from there. I did notice one edit on the Project One, Columbus Ave. You have 2023 work plan on there twice.
whoops.
Just a typo.
Oh, that,
kinda
yeah, the
wondering
last
about
one
that.
should be 2024.
I thought maybe we split that in half or something.
That's just me copy and pasting and then not fixing what I did.
And just to kind of go back to the Columbus Ave project, we talked about getting kind of, I don't know, call it a consultant. Do you know what types of fees that they is it percentage based of artists or anything like that? Because we have that overage. I don't know if
I was gonna double check that.
that discretionary overage could be used to offset some of that when it comes to, once, if we brought another outside party in to be a consultant to where, what that would be, what that would take away from what we kind of are earmarking towards that project.
That's a great question. I want to do some research and ask some folks. I think we could count on getting a proposal if we put an RFP out from 3 or 4 firms or individuals because of folks that have engaged with us in the past. So I think hopefully we would get a good spread of proposals. I think we could run it, if we run it as a request for qualifications, let's say we want some help, here's when, here's what, give us your qualifications, that gives us an opportunity to interview and then see what the most qualified firm would look like and then ask for a budget. And if they say we want 40 grand, we can be like, woo-hoo, no thanks. Next, we'll take the next one in line. You know what I mean? I would hope that we could do that for like 10 or 15. I would guess it would be 10-ish, maybe less. I have no idea. Because I was a consultant before, but I was doing stuff that was way more involved with like land use and closer to an engineering scale. So I don't know if their fees are similar to the fees that I was used to seeing on projects or how long that effort would take. I mean, I was hoping that I could kind of call some places and be like, what's a reasonable expectation for this? I do think Columbus Avenue is a safe bucket. It's kind of where we put all our extra money for the last couple of years. So if we don't allocate that, we could put it here. But yeah, great question.
So, along those same lines, with the 10,000 budget surplus, in the past, we've had that little rollover amount, which was 7,000 for 2023. So we don't really account for that in this budget. So I think some of that 10 is probably gonna be that holdover.
Well, it might end up,
Too.
so last year we budgeted out to $200. So we allocated everything but $200. The extra is the gap between what our finance director, Michelle Reeder, says we're probably going to collect from admissions tax and versus what we actually collected. So last year she told us it was going to be like 94,000, but we actually collected like 102 or something. So that's the gap.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was really strong. It was like, I think Cedar Point had a really big year last year, so it was considerably more. So like, from what I saw, she presented to City Commission the other day that it was 104,000 expected annual, but she still is more comfortable with us budgeting for 95. So it's just like kind of some built-in conservative financial management.
It's almost like we could drop that in the Columbus Ave bucket and utilize the funds for that.
ticket sales at Cedar Point are based on a lot of variables. We could have terrible weather, we could have great
Yeah.
weather, so I like having the contingency.
Having that little piece there.
And then as for like the construction plans, do we know, I mean, once artists would get involved or a consultant, what the limitations are, of what they could do, where they could build, lighting limitations, hanging overheads? Because, I think once that kind of starts bidding out, if that's kind of coalesced into a better document, or it's going to make that bidding process and that process a lot easier than having that conversation and trying to work through it at the time.
Yeah, I think we'll know very well the parameters of where something could go, but without understanding like how big is it and how many is it and what,
What it is.
what
I mean, that's.
Yeah, I think that my expectation would be that there's those facilitated conversations help us get to a relative like size and personality and budget, but then the call for artists really asks artists to tell us what it is.
It's almost, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, it's just kind of like framing up the parameters and then putting it out and really like.
Situation, right?
Yeah, and I think engaging with the consultant will help us get access to artists that work nationwide or globally
Right.
and not just regionally. And that's a huge, we've hit that barrier with the other calls for artists that we put out there, and we don't want to hit that barrier with, a monumental project that's right in the heart of our downtown.
Speaking of using the term starting somewhere, I think you developed a nice document here, and I, for one, would be happy to make a motion to accept it as we've discussed tonight.
I would second that.
We have a motion, and a second. Any more discussion on the 10,000? Where do we end with that?
Go, either thumbs up to put it back in or for Columbus or
I would just
Split it
leave
half
it as
and half.
contingency.
or contingency.
Yeah.
Keep
We
it-
don't have to
Yeah.
decide that today for any reason, do we?
Yeah, 'cause I mean, hopefully there's more projects down the line.
Leave us flexibility.
I'll amend my motion then to approve the budget or the work plan as submitted and just use that 10,000 plus or minus for contingency.
I will continue my second.
A motion, a second. Any further discussion? If not, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Marcia Carrington? Yes. Sean Daly?
Yes.
Chris Parthamore?
Yes.
Adam Ramsdale?
Yes.
Brian Stanley?
Yes.
Cable Steineman?
Yes.
Martha Weichel?
Yes.
Annetta Woldicka?
Yes.
Getting there.
Woldicka.
Gotta start somewhere.
Great work plan. That's
Wait, that's a
passed.
theme. Gotta start
on you,
somewhere,
Aaron.
start here.
I think we have a member of the public that's attended tonight. Did you intend to speak tonight, or are you just listening?
Oh, I can.
That would be
Yeah,
to the
please step up
discretion
so
of the
we can-
chair.
Yeah, I'd like to speak with you guys.
Just a reminder for everyone to speak in the microphones. You think you're close, but when you go to listen to the tape to do the minutes, you cannot hear you.
Okay, roger that.
Be on the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
It's good? Okay. Is this on YouTube? It is. It is, okay. Hello to the commission and to staff and everyone watching this live on YouTube. My name is Danielle Murray. I'm the Executive Director of Lake Erie Film Commission. Lake Erie Film Commission is a 501c nonprofit dedicated to mentoring, promoting, and funding Erie County, Ohio filmmakers. We had our first fundraising event, the Run Scream Run 5K in downtown Sandusky, Ohio on October 27th. And we are currently applying for grants for the second annual Run Scream Run 5K in this year on October 27th and October 27th. I am here just to tell you kind of a little bit about the nonprofit. We are currently holding our third board meeting in the Erie County Chamber of Commerce, and that will be held on the 29th of January. It is, right as of now, it is open to the public. Everyone is welcome to come until we get an official board together. We now have 5 board members. We're hoping to have 11 board members by this next meeting. a couple of projects that we are in the progress of doing is a $2,000 internship opportunity where we will be awarding 2 aspiring filmmakers $2,000 to work side by side with a filmmaker, an executive in filmmaking. The other project upcoming project is the Sandusky Film Festival. And those are kind of the 2 biggest projects. We are also going to be holding an Oscar party at Daly's on March 10th, I believe. And I'd love you guys to support it. You can visit us on our website to learn more, lefc.org. And I'd love to answer any questions you have.
What's the date of that party, on March?
March, I believe it's March 10th is the day of the Oscars.
No, that's great. Nice to have first of all, someone show up and want to talk to us. That's a first. Maybe a second.
Ooh, kitty.
But no, we do offer the artist-led grant program, as you heard, and we take those on a case-by-case basis. So if there's ever a need, we'd love to have you come back and present your need to us and see if the commission feels that it's appropriate.
Sounds good, thank you.
Because we have, 10,000 this year also to artists, I think.
Sorry, what was that?
We have allocated money for artist-led projects and artist-led grants in the budget, and that's $10,000 of funds that are available to those that come and present that to us. So we just did the mural over by Everwild this past year. So, but this is the first time we've had filmmakers, so it's just kind of nice. We're just joking about we haven't had any culinary or fashion.
Now we got film.
Yes, I'd love to partner with the city in any shape or form, so that would be great.
Any other questions or comments? All good.
I think if we can, to make sure as these come up, make sure, engage us. And I'm willing to bet a lot of us would definitely like to go.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, any other motions? Any motions to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? We're adjourned.
How you been?
Congratulations on
I was sick. But I'm
Thank you for joining.
busy.
Busy. Yeah, busy.
It's yours.
The camera's
Doing
still
peer
on.
support.
Gift from me to